Hello guys and welcome back to the upper division of South American DPC here, of course created by Epulze. We're watching the second match of the upper division is Hokori versus SG Esports. So we're starting to change up. Yesterday we had a really hyped matchup in Thunder Awaken versus Infamous, some of the two top teams. This one is more of an underdog match. Hokori did a really good job last season. They did lose their 4 though. Licor now playing is El Misho, which is their old 4, and SG Esports coming from Division 2, they're really looking for a win against Hokori to prove that they have what it's needed to stay in this division. For our panel this time, we have RDO and Wingblade joining us. Thank you, gentlemen. RDO, I'm gonna start with you. My Brazilian expert. SG only has one Brazilian player now, but still a Brazilian org. What is your opinion on them as a team? You got to play them a lot last season. Do you feel like they have what it takes to beat Hokori?
Yeah, I feel like they were pretty strong because they had Parker and they were playing like Parker strategies, like heavy carry on Parker and just let him do his thing. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're gonna play with Berna, right?
Yes, it's Berna.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on Berna as a carry? I know his style is a little bit different than yours, so that's why I ask.
I feel like he's also a good player, and he can play hard carry, and he can also play like the other kind of carries, like position 2 carries, like Monkey King, Drow Ranger. He's really good at it. So he's more of a complete player for me. He can do more stuff.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's look at the other side. Wingblade, I'm sure you're hyped to get to panel for this wonderful Hokori team. Do you find that their 4 change is going to be quite a big effect to them? Or do you feel like since they're going back to one of their older players, they're going to be fine with it?
They're probably going to be fine. I mean, changing a player always changes up the dynamic of a team, but it helps to have played with someone before. It's going to take a while to adapt, but it should probably be good. Not super familiar with him, but just looking at the results from the last season, they should be fine.
RTL, if we compare El Misho and Licor, would you say they're fairly similar players, or do you think there's some notable differences there? I see you smiling already.
I feel like Licor is more of an experienced player than El Misho.
Yeah.
That's kind of it from the comparison.
Oh, okay. Do you think that their playstyle then is fairly similar? Because they even share a similar hero pool, actually, from what we've seen from them.
Yeah, it's the same thing about Berna and Parker. Like, Licor can do more playstyles than El Misho can, at least in my opinion. Maybe he's changed now.
Yep. That's fair. No, that's fair. You're smiling because RDO is Brazilian and he's afraid that people are going to call him out for this, but I think everyone would agree with this. El Misho was playing in lower division last season, and he was doing, okay, but Licor seemed to upgrade Hokori. Do you know, by the way, why Licor left? Do you know any of his reasoning? I know he's forming a stack of some kind, but it was really weird to me.
Oh, yeah, he left with KJ also left Wolf Team because they wanted to make a team to play open qualifiers and all this kind of stuff. But they lost in open qualifiers, unfortunately.
I mean, it's kind of wild that you leave a Division 1 team to play in open qualifiers.
Come
they
on,
must
man, you
really
cannot
like
laugh about it. No, I'm friend of Licor and KJ. Stop.
Okay, I'm so sorry, RD. I apologize. I will not laugh about it. It's just a really terrible situation for them. I was a big fan of Hokori last season. Let's see how they perform with El Misho. Wingblade, looking at this matchup, anything you think stands out about SG or Hokori that you think the teams should be wary of each other? Anything you think is key in this matchup?
I mean, I'm just very excited to see the new SG. I had the opportunity to cast a lot of them last season. And I thought Parker was a pretty standout player at times. So hearing that the new carry might be an upgrade has me pretty damn excited.
Is that what you would say, RDO? Would you say upgrade, or would you say just more versatile?
I mean, he's more versatile. I feel like Parker's pretty good on what he does. You can do a lot of stuff, but sometimes doing less and being better at it's just better for doing it,
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we saw Parker yesterday win a terrible game.
SG Esports turn to ban.
There's a lot of truth to your statement as we get now into the drafting. RDO, I know we got really hyped with Hokori last season with their drafting. Do you feel like now not having Licor and having El Misho was a little bit more limited in his hero pool, you think that's going to put a damp in that drafting?
I think it's fine because I've played in Hokori and Vitaly plus El Misho, like they're so good together. I feel like they're like brothers, you know? They don't
Yeah.
even talk in lane
10
and they
seconds
just
remaining.
destroy every single lane.
Well, that's good to hear then. All right, we're gonna see. I mean, apparently Vitaly also loved Lacoste, and he said they also didn't talk together, and they just destroyed every single lane as well. So maybe that's just their style. DK Coddle banned, Io Timbersaw, that early Timbersaw ban. We're back to SA, right? Wingblade.
I'm very curious to see if we're gonna see any cheese picks from Hokori. Because I know they've played a little bit of Zeus, they played some Broodmother, and now with a new patch and the meta not really being too established yet, it is a perfect opportunity to get those picks out. But no, we just see a Chaos Knight to start with, so nothing too wacky yet.
What was your opinion on something like a Marcy, by the way? We've seen a little bit of it in both SEA and SA, but 0 win rate for now.
I feel like people are still figuring out the hero. For a lot of pro players, when a hero is not yet in Captain's mode, they don't experiment too much with it in pubs because it's like wasted practice. But the moment it gets into Captain's mode, people start spamming it in pubs and really discovering if the hero is actually good. So I feel like it's too early to say, even if the win rate is kind of shit right now.
Look, another hero that we've seen a lot in the SA DPC, it's the Beastmaster. RDO as a carry, how does it make you feel when they pick up the Beastmaster against you?
It's so sad, man. Like you can win the lane against this hero, but he's gonna get a dom and he'll take your tower, and you just have to accept it. It's so boring.
What do you think of the new build where they don't even get dom and they just go race back and go
Dire
act?
team back.
Or do you feel like
I'm not sure. I feel like you kind of lose a bit of the early game potential of the hero, because Dom is just too strong to pressure map, you know? And it's one of the highest qualities of Beastmaster. You have the Hawk to provide you vision, you have the Aura to gather and teamfight on early game, and you have your
10
wild
seconds
big
remaining.
damage from units.
I was gonna bring up Kunkka as a counter in lane, but it's instantly banned out. So not too many good choices left.
Yeah, there are a couple people in SA that still played a crazy good Kunkka in the carry position. Berna was one of them. The other one was Benny as well, was also a big fan of the Kunkka carry. So that was still an option in this region.
I really hope we get to see Alchemist. I feel like it's such a good hero against Chaos Knight. And it got buffed as well, but people are still sleeping on it a little bit.
We saw it yesterday, actually, so good call, Wingblade. I see you watched the matches. Why do you think it's a good counter to DK? What's your logic there?
Well, you have, first of all, a big AoE stun. You have built-in cleave at level 20, so that's already two things that are really good against Chaos Knight, but also just the fact that you accelerate so fast, and CK wants like maybe 2 items before he can really kill you, but at that point you're like 5-slotted. So I feel like the tempo of the hero really does well against CK.
Okay, that's fair enough. What are some more counters they could pick up here to deal with the CK? Actually, are you assuming the CK is going to be a carry, or can it still be flexed into the offlane?
I feel like carry is most likely. But it's a new patch, you never know. Maybe like Chaos Knight is a position 4 now, who knows?
I mean, it's not that big a patch, Wingblade, alright? I don't think it was that crazy that you can now play him as position 4.
We'll see.
All right. I like when my analysts decide not to say too much, right? It's good not to venture yourself, right? You go with the flow instead. Undying ban instead for SG. Where are you seeing this draft going for SG, RTO? Seeing the Enchantress very popular from some teams, particularly gaming gladiators, but mostly unpicked. Are you seeing a very lane-oriented draft here?
Yeah, I feel like they had to pick teamfight heroes, because CK and Enchantress doesn't provide anything but snowballing from lane. And I think the CK Enchantress should be good against Beastmaster lane, because I feel like Beastmaster can only win against CK lane if he gets boards, but you can never get boards against Enchantress.
Yeah, totally agree with that one. Because if Beast goes for access, he's not gonna have the constant pressure, and CK can just lifesteal.
Yeah. We'll see how that works out for them. And so Hokori ban out their Underlord for themselves, and That's gonna be a clockwork now. Some buffs to this hero. Pretty big buff. Battery Cell not dealing double damage to creeps. What are your thoughts on this hero now, Wingblade? Do you feel like he's gonna see much more play?
I think so. People have brought up like the parallel between Batrider and who is the other hero again? CK getting bonus damage on creeps and that instantly making them viable. There is a big difference that those are like core heroes most often though.
Right.
So they actually get farming speed from it, and Clockwork doesn't really care about it too much. I think he's stronger now because he kills creeps faster when he's like skirmishing in lane, but I don't think it's a huge deal. That being said, I'm just happy to see Clock because he's one of those heroes who is really active without needing farm, so it just makes for fun games to watch.
That's fair
This
enough.
draft is going way too fast.
Yeah, they pick up the Hoodwink Tiny now, so they still leave the opening of if CK can be flexed, as Hokori answers with the Invoker. RDO, what are your opinion on the... I mean, this Tiny looks to be a mid-Tiny, I want to say? What do you think of the Invoker against that?
It's fully flexed, so I like the Invoker because it's analog special, and it should be good against Tiny because it builds Vessel, it goes for EMP build, and EMP is so annoying when you're playing CK, because if you don't have mana, you cannot play teamfights. So you either like get some early BKB or you go for some change on builds like going Soul Ring or Stick. I like the Invoker pick, so solid for Hokori.
Okay, like it very much then. Do you think the tempo for Hokori is now looking a little bit scary? Can SG match it right now?
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure if SG can actually match it because I don't know. We gotta see more about lanes, but for me, this Beastmaster is so free. Like he's gonna snowball so hard because of the Invoker pick.
Right.
Like he might have some bad lane, but when Invoker starts getting online and start with rotations, he's gonna destroy the game with Beastmaster.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen this so many times across so many patches, just at like 20-25 minute Invoker Beastmaster timing with like one random carry hero with a BKB that can hit towers. It's so hard to stop.
And you also have the Clockwork, right, to add to the vision pool and the ganking potential, so it's like, it's a very oppressive lineup. What do you think SG could do here, Wingblade? What would their last pick be to try to respond to this?
Ooh.
10 seconds
I feel like they need some kind of crazy space hero that can disrupt like a clear timing for Hokori just by like cutting waves, getting pickoffs, that kind of stuff. I think going for something that just de-pushes towers is not gonna be enough. They just need something to disrupt the regular game plan for Hokori. What that is, I don't know.
Okay, well that's fair enough. All right, RDO, do you have any ideas?
Please help me, RDO. What can save that draft?
He's asking for the call. Yeah, lifeline.
I like Mars for SG. I mean, it's a solid pick, and it also adds a lot of team fight. Like they'll have a lot of damage. They'll have solid lanes. They'll have early and mid game team fight, and it's also a giga strong late game hero. Like it's so annoying for Beastmaster to go units build against Mars because eventually he'll get Arena and all his power will be gone. He'll get like Arena plus Hoodwink combo and down goes Beastmaster.
Yeah, Mars is actually a good call. I'm surprised it hasn't been banned yet.
SA game without banning Mars? What's happening here?
Yeah, you know, it might just be the final pick here for SG. We'll see. I mean, they might also decide to run CK offlane and pick up a carry that can be a little bit faster. Maybe. Still an option for SG. Something I can also deal with Beastmaster.
I feel like CK offlane is not that great this game, though.
Right. That's fair enough. You also don't know your matchup, right? So it would be a little bit dangerous to put him in there blindly.
I wish they picked up Spirit Breaker. They picked it quite a bit last season. It is gonna be Brewmaster. Okay.
Okay, so no Mars, at least it seems like for now. Does it run a Brew? Is he good at delaying the game? He certainly has a little bit of tempo with that ultimate, but is he gonna be able to delay?
I'm not sure. I mean, it is strong at like 20-25 minutes, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. because Invoker or Beastmaster can pressure like without any cooldown, right? Because their longest cooldown ability is like Sunstrike or Roar or whatever, but they don't really care about that. They just put Alacrity on a hero and they hit towers. And Brewmaster can definitely defend, but only for like the duration of his ulti. And it's not like he's super great at cutting creeps or finding pickoffs, so I'm not a huge fan of this pick.
So now you're Hokori RDO. What carries are you thinking about? How do you put the last nail in the coffin? How do you destroy them?
If it was a pub, I would pick Anti-Mage because it's just a free Anti-Mage game. But
Okay.
because of competitive, I think Ursa is pretty good in here. Like Ursa with Battle Fury is gonna be able to deal with Brew on mid game with Cleave, and it also has a good matchup against CK and Tiny.
Anti-Mage is a Yumo hero, though. I see your point, by the way. It is a really good Anti-Mage game. I mean, it's not tempo, right? But, like, you could even go for the old Vanguard build, who knows?
No, please, don't do that.
Don't make
Okay.
suggestions like this, Ava, please. We're
Yeah.
live.
I think Yuma has 0% win rate in competitive with Anti-Mage Vanguard build.
Choose your
Alright,
He's gonna
Morphling.
go with Morphling. Alright. Something more normal. What are your thoughts on the Morphling here, RDO?
I like it. It's gonna have a free lane because Brew's not gonna be able to pressure enough, and once he gets like Linken's or Manta +1 item, he'll out carry the CK Tiny lineup for sure.
I can't
He
wait.
also has, yeah, they'll have the Vlads from Vitaly and the Alacrity from Analog, so Morphling is gonna be a beast on late game.
But how many times is he gonna get sniped by a sharpshooter?
No,
I don't think-
I trust
don't
Yuma,
think so,
man.
yeah.
I trust Yuma.
Yeah.
Okay, I say
This guy
one
has
time.
godlike reflexes. You say one-time Wingblade?
Yeah, it's like the
You think they're gonna
exception to
win,
prove
though?
the rule, you know?
Yeah, sure. My question is, do you think SG is gonna win with that sniper? Is that not gonna be enough?
I still don't think so. Even if they do snipe godlike Yuma, no.
Okay, RDO, any faith in SG?
I'm Hokari fan, and I also like your draft, so I'll go with Hokari on this one.
Okay. Since RDO has a Brazilian on each team, he now has liberty to pick whatever team he likes better. It's really nice for him. As we go over to game number 1 between Hokori and SG. SG looking to make a splash in upper division with a win, whereas Hokori is looking to secure these quote-unquote easy points for them, as they're still looking for those top 2 slots in the region. Will they be able to take on SG? We're gonna have to see as we all go over to our wonderful casting pair of Gareth and Lacoste.
Thank you so much. Yeah, here we are. And as you say, Hokori were 3rd place last season, looking to push for those top 2 spots. Bringing in El Micho, or returning, as he's been on Hokori twice before, I believe, and SG. And making that splash into Division 1 Lacoste. The panel seems pretty Hokori favored. Are you leaning the same way, or do you have other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty free Morphling game. It's a last pick Morphling, so I expect Morphling to do a lot of good stuff in this one. They also picked Brewmaster into Clockwork. Like, Clockwork historically has been arch nemesis of a Brewmaster. He gets on top of you. You have battery. You can't get out of the cogs. You can't use the split. Doesn't strike me as a good Brewmaster game. I put a lot of faith in the hero. I think the hero's got buffed so many times over the last couple of patches. We've seen at the majors, at the Gamers Galaxy, that hero can do well. I just don't think this is the game for it, because he's playing into mana burn. He's playing into a lot of stuns overall, so gonna have a hard time. I think Invoker with the EMP is going to cause a lot of issues for both CK, Brewmaster, even Tiny. These are 3 strength cores that don't have much mana, and it's going to be like, if he gets the EMP off, it's going to be very difficult for them to take a fight. They also have a lot of ways to reset the fight if they don't want to take it, with just like Tornado, EMP again, Clockwork going in, dying, Cookie. Their heroes are very difficult to kill on side of Hokori.
Yeah, it felt like that Brewmaster last pick was trying to cover against, the Illusion heroes, PLTB, whoever it was, and they were maybe a bit scared of that final pick coming out. But it's Yuma on the Morphling. Plenty of options for him, and he goes for that super hard carry as the final pick. Nobody's going to connect on each other, even though they all smoked up early days, getting their vision out in that top portion of the map pretty early on. SG still looking for something, getting into that enemy triangle, wandering around. It looks like it's going to be Frank and KXY that might get shoved away from this top bounty rune by, Clockwork, Snapfire, very good brawlers and scrappers at that level 1. Still get 2 for 2 though. What are your thoughts about Beastmaster? Because he seems like a hero that rises and falls in prominence around items, right? You know, Necro 3 used to be a thing, was huge, gets nerfed, gets removed, then there's Helm the Dominator, Wraith Pact that come back, and all of a sudden these Vlads and kind of aura summoning heroes seem to be incredibly popular.
Yeah, Beastmaster is just overall seems very strong. We see different kind of builds on a Beastmaster recently, with just Helm into Wraith Pact or like Aghanim Scepter Rush if you feel like you need it. So different ways to build it. Before it was Helm of the Overlord, like you had to go for it, otherwise you didn't have like an item to go for. And also the Shard from the Beastmaster is super strong.
Yeah, having those dive bombing hawks can be incredibly annoying when you're starting pickoffs. It's just a global invis vision into 2-second stun. So far, so good. Vitaling only a couple of CS under his belt. Pretty difficult laning into Enchantress, though. She does go Nature's Attendance level 1 just to sustain and keep Burner in the lane. Of course, we'll have that Enchant coming out to control up the creep. Maybe even steal a boar or 2.
Oh, they pulled the lane back bottom. This is pretty big.
Yeah, range creep goes for it. Well done by Wiz just to drag the rest back as top lane. They're attempting a dive onto Yuma, LTH and Frank. Now have to contend with battery assault from Gardic though. There's a big ranged, big radiant creep wave tanking a lot of that damage. And Hoodwink trying to close in with a bushwhack, connected on clock and picks up first blood. Gardic doing his job though, protecting his carry. Morphling alive, everyone's happy.
That's pretty big. I mean, he needs to bring some kind of regen to Morphling. Like everyone knows that healing salve was nerfed, so you get half of the value if someone else uses it on you. So I'm gonna need to give him regen, or Morphling needs to get the regen for himself because he's very far away from the Morbid Mask. Also, Gary, I can hear you twice. I don't know what it is, but we might need to fix it. It's gonna be much easier to communicate if I don't hear you twice. Very interesting indeed.
Are you hearing me through the game?
I might be, yeah.
Huh. It might be the mute co-broadcasters thing that's broken again, but who knows? If I do that, you can't hear me twice now, can you?
Yeah, let me try to check that. Yeah, seems like now it's working. It's all good. Let's focus on the game.
Okie dokie. Hopefully everything's fine. And what about this other lane? You know, the third one is often ignored for the first few minutes. Invoker against Tiny. How does this matchup usually go? Even Stevens farming?
Tiny's gonna get the farm. Yeah, I don't think Invoker pressures him too much. Invoker can't really get a kill. Quasto X Invoker on a Tiny. He can burn his mana, be very annoying, but in terms of getting the solo kill, it's very, very difficult. Like, he needs a rotation from a Clockwork or a Snapfire. There's a lot of pressure on Yuma on the top. He has a Morbid Mask coming out to him, is gonna eat a Tango. But yeah, they can snipe him. Like, the one good Bushwhack and also Cinderbrew. He put 2 points in the Cinderbrew, which means that there is a lot of kill potential, even for this Clockwork. If he gets like out of position, he just might suffer.
Man, they've already shown their chase potential is pretty damn strong. And Yuma there got a ton of hits on him. And they do drag the wave back as LTH pulls into large camp. Like you say, Yuma's got that Morbid Mask now, so self-sustaining. Doesn't need the salve spams anymore. That's also a big topic that's come around these first couple of days of this patch. Heroes with lifesteal or built-in regen in the lane seem to be becoming more and more popular just because of that salve nerf. Do you think it's going to affect the economy too much, Lacoste? Inflation kicking in? Supports now not having to buy salves. They'll be able to buy boots earlier on. Faster Windlace and Magic Stick.
There was one game in EU West DPC where Lich bought 1,500 or 1,300 worth of consumables in 4.5 minutes, which is pretty insane.
What?
Yes, he just had like mangoes, healing salves, and tangos. That's all he bought.
Oh, that's nutty. Buy headdress, buy tangos, buy mangoes, spam it out. Burner has a crack at Vitaly. Elmisho shows up. And there is that boar steal, so Widge is going to be able to turn it back on his master. Axe is at level 2. Starting to become a little worrying, though. There's 6 stacks on CK. Widge is going to tank a couple as well, and they make the jump onto Beastmaster and hit him down, but it's just enough with that boar slow to catch up. Allow CK to get that kill.
CK is still very strong in the lane. Like, he did get nerfed, but having this nature attendance as well to be able to trade, and he's gonna go, at least try to go for another one, but this is a tanky Snapfire. Has 7 stick charges and the Fairy Fire.
Tempted turnaround, but everything on cooldown means and just wave the white flag and run away. A rotation from Analog even coming down here, pre-6 minutes. So he's going to skip out on that active rune and come bottom to try and finish off Burner. And it looks like he's got what it takes. Vitaly snipes it with a long-range axes, and they just didn't expect Invoker to be there.
Invoker got the Urn Charge, which is pretty big. Now he's going to have an easier time setting things up with the Cold Snap, and might try to put some pressure on the tower. He drags the aggro back. Beastmaster does have a point in the Inner Beast. This is a new build on a Beastmaster. 3 points in Wild Axes, 1 point in Boar, and you go 1 point in Aura. And here we go. That Urn of Shadow is going to get them another kill.
The Sentinel Stomp on the damage comes out of the Enchantress, and the heal from level 2 Natures.
Maybe.
Widge is surviving. He's a liver. And in the meantime, while they're pushing this bottom tower, they actually got the kill on Morphling. Just a clap from Brewmaster finished him off. Yuma really playing on that knife's edge.
Now they have a catapult. There's no way that Frank has a full Spirit Vessel. He can't be that farmed. No, he doesn't. He just does not have it in the quick buy.
He's getting there.
This is going to be huge against Invoker and against, of course, Morphling. This tower is dead. Like, they're not going to be able to defend this.
Yeah, they're not bringing anyone up top. Gareth's moving from mid towards that top jungle, and they do know Tiny just grabbed a bounty rune there. This little D-wall from Clark, and the Invoker throws the combo at KXY. Very irritating to lose all of your mana like that, but you're right. Top tier 1 dies first. Bottom is still alive at half HP. CK and Enchantress proving too much to get through.
A lot of problems for Hokori after the laning stage. Like, bottom lane is complete free farm for a CK. Like, you mentioned it. Heroes that have a built-in regeneration, lifesteal. CK did get nerfed, but since, like, the healing styles got nerfed, like, I think CK is actually buffed.
Yeah, it's like one of those ninja buffs, right? You nerf other things, and these skills, abilities, items suddenly seem way more effective, way more valuable. How many bands of Elven Skin does a Morphling need? Because he's got like 5 queued up. Treads,
one for Power
Dragonlance.
Treads, 2 for Dragonlance, 1 for Manta, so 4. I think we're all good.
That's a lot of magic. And Vitaly down bottom, even dragging Radiant Wave deep into that large camp so they can keep chipping away at this tower. And again, they bring Analog down here. Cookie into the Tornado EMP, started off on Burner, and it doesn't look like they're going to react fast enough to save him. Maybe KXY and Frank, though, with a Bruce split and an Avalanche toss, can get some stragglers on their way out. Vitaly will be their target of choice. Bring the Beastmaster down, slow that push, and defend your tower. So even though CK dies there, it's still map space advantage for SG.
And they still didn't get the tower. Like, once Brewmaster shows up, he's very difficult to kill. We talked about Mana Burn being very effective, especially against CK because his name is Burna, so Mana Burna on him. Double the effect. Like, he doesn't have much mana pool. He does have a couple of magic 1 charges, but that's pretty much it. Now going into Armlet, so this EMP, as we expected, is going to cause a lot of issues. He shows up, he uses on Tiny. Tiny's going to be, like, relatively useless. Tiny finds a very good item. Tornado on mid.
And catch out the Hoodwink. A blast from Elmisho, snapfire doing a lot of damage, but a turnaround bushwhack, and KXY arriving means that this snapfire is looking pretty done for.
Barely lives. Like that.
Hokori really struggling to finish kills.
That infused raindrop plus a magic wand keeping the squirrel alive. It seems like they need to bring an extra hero. Snapfire buying the book for herself, level 4 right now. That's gonna get her closer to level 6. Beastmaster already used one Roar Tower. It's very low HP. It's a catapult wave, so I want to see someone else playing with the Beastmaster bottom. But we can see Frank already bottom with the Spirit Vessel. Cinder Brew maxed out, like plus an ulti, so he can be the one defending the tower.
Okay, now surely Widge has got to die. Enchantress have spent the past minute and a half sitting in this top jungle, farming, taking neutrals. And Hokori will bring that extra hero in, force around her. And bring down the Enchantress. So another little charge there for the Urn of the Invoker. Yeah, it's like Enchantress so tanky just naturally. Fluffy hat, headdress, sure. But these raindrops that both supports have bought have proved invaluable. Both pretty squishy heroes, but you add the raindrops in and they're tanking through a lot of this magic damage. As it looks like Frank with a primal split. And a long rotation from Hoodwink will slay the Vitali Beastmaster. Again, stopping that push, removing the catapult wave. Hokori seemed a little bit lost about what to do.
He could have expected that because he used the axes. He has a hawk, so he saw the Brewmaster. Like, Brewmaster can't go for the solo kill. Like, there's no way for Beastmaster to survive if Brew uses a split. And now Hokori using a smoke. I think this smoke needed to come a little bit earlier. They potentially get a kill on Brewmaster. Beastmaster doesn't die.
The Wild Wing pushback, the full staff of the Wild Wing. Oh, Brewmaster. Battery assaulted. And both Tiny Hoodwink were wrapping around behind that bottom lane, deciding to change tact and move into mid instead. So bottom tier 1 should
finally gonna drop.
It should be finally claimed by Hokori, but it's the Morphling, sorry, in the mid lane. Gets off his attribute shift, so without that perfect chain stun, they're unable to kill him. Even waveforming back towards them with a high five going.
This Wildwing Ripper, Hurricane ability, every single time I get surprised when it's cast. I'm like, what? What just happened? I'm expecting a tornado. But he gave tornado to his little brothers.
I've got to defend their camps with everything they've got. 400 distance pushed. Really nice. Oh, this is where Beastmaster starts to excel. And Clockwork with his level 6. Straight onto Hoodwink, who just sharpshooter bonks herself over the cogs, and Tornado completely off the mark. This is a 5-man group up from Hokori. They were really expecting a full scrap to begin there.
Defending that tier 1 tower on the mid lane, very important. Morphling needs some time to recover. He's very far behind in terms of net worth compared to there's Brewmaster. Like, this Brewmaster with Vessel is gonna cause a lot of issues, and the CK is gonna be very early ready to fight. Like, he's definitely gonna join.
Tiny reveals it. Clockwork inside those cogs, and the kiss is coming. Yuma turns into Tiny and combos him down. And walking up blind into that triangle area, very, very risky from SG, and they pay for it dearly. They've got a hard job defending this mid tower as well. Analog, he's got no ability to escape. Couldn't get his Ghost Walk off. Frank with his split, using it as a team fighting pushing engine. It feels absolutely like this first 14 minutes has been dictated by SG every step of the way. Lanes into mid-game, towers being taken.
Yeah, just playing very clean, I would say. Tiny, full combo on a Clockwork. Not much he can do about it. I don't think we've seen hookshot being used yet. It's very difficult. They're playing 4 versus 5 at the moment. And look, Brewmaster shows where Morphling is. They keep high-fiving because he knows. Like, one Cinder Brew plus a Spirit Vessel, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. One extra hero shows up. Tiny has a Haste Rune and a Blink Dagger plus a Tumbler's Toy, so he can easily close the gap.
Yeah, they just need something to cancel a TP if Morphling attempts it. Hokori again gathering in mid. A good avalanche holds them back for a second, but a lot of magic damage arrives into the back of Widge's head. It's off the back of these kind of kills that you really want Hokori to be pushing things over the river. Get towards this mid-tier 1. Start planting yourself on enemy territory to give Yuma that little bit more space that it feels he needs. Because he's 2,000 net worth behind the CK right now.
Absolutely. I mean, Morphling, right now they're pushing because they know that there's not a Brew Split available, but even without it, like, Brewmaster still deals a lot, considering that he went for the Spirit Vessel first item.
Yeah, they're pinging Morph out. Yuma with some good reaction there gets the shift off. Widge just face tanking that creep wave. Still looking to start something. Dire Vision covers their retreat, sees the Hoodwink, and it watches this Tiny as he gets Invoker blasted and finished by Yuma. Clockwork now, with the help of a Roar and a Sunstrike, picking up the Hoodwink. Hokori fighting back as a scrappy initiation from SG. Really miscommunicated there as how they wanted to enter that fight.
Even if Tiny gets, like, kill on Morphling, it's good, don't get me wrong, but there was no one from the team ready to connect. Like, it's very difficult to pass through the cogs, through Tornado, EMP. A bit greedy there from Tiny to try to go in and grab a kill like that. They also have a cookie, and Yuma, he's recovering. Like, yes, he's still 2,000 gold behind, but once he gets the Manta style, he's definitely gonna feel much more comfortable joining a fight because he will have a dispel mechanic.
Yeah, super important. Tiny once more trying on this Clockwork. Tosses him back towards Frank, but they've got some disengage mechanisms here with the cookie and the cog. Gardic trying to TP home, but flipped by the Bushwhack.
CK has a full BKB coming to him, so this is a good time to try to take a fight. Like, their Roche taking potential is also good. Like, they have sustain coming up from Nature's Attendants, and inside the pit they go. At least Vidge to try to figure out what's going on. Has Holy Locket as well, but they need CK for the damage.
Yeah, he's on his way. Pops the Phantasm to push out, farm some camps, and move into top. It doesn't look like Hokori are really prepared for this. They've got a couple of heroes smoked. Rocket Flares can come and scout them out, but they know, but how do they get here? Sunstrike gives more vision, another Rocket Flare. So they do have this ability with, like, aerial vision just to see inside the pit. It looks like that's enough to deter SG for now. A snap, smoke, and looking for targets. Scanning off to the left and seeing Gardic. They know where Clockwork is, and they jump in immediately. Gardic has to get some spells out before he dies. Good kisses, though, in on top of Tiny. KXY drop into the lava and dead to Analog's Invoker. They don't have the split because Brew's out of mana, so Widge has been left stranded now.
They trade position 5 for Brew's split, which, like, wasn't used because he doesn't have mana, and also, like, 2 big kills. And now they can go inside the pit. Like, they have more than enough damage with the boar, with the alacrity.
That's all just down to vision. Sunstrikes, the flares, really removing that security the Radiant had inside the pit. And now Frank with a split. He's played aggressively up into the waiting arms of Hokori. He'll just hold his Earth Panda inside the cogs. Yuma initiated on, though, by Burner with his BKB. Down to pretty low HP and finished off by the Sharpshooter. Couldn't cookie him away, and Gardic will follow him into the grave as well. 2 heroes down, and Invoker might be the third.
That's gonna be 3.
Chain stunned. And a triple kill for Burner means Roshan now belongs to SG.
Looked good for Hokori until they like didn't know what to do. It felt like they wanted to fall back. Clockwork uses cogs. Let's wait until Brewmaster split is gone, and then CK shows up. Burna had the split ready. Like, damage coming out from CK is pretty wild. Now has a Shadow Blade as well, so they can punish whoever is trying to split push. Like, they can initiate on the Morphling when he's low HP. So that's gonna be very difficult. This is the big fight for SG because, like, in terms of vision, when they went inside the pit, there's Rocket, there is Sunstrike, Boar, neutral creep from Beastmaster as well. So there's a ton of stuff that they can send inside the pit, but they still couldn't manage to get it. And now they're gonna need to play again for the timing 5 minutes from now on. Just try to get some like pick-offs with the Beastmaster, with the Invoker, Sunstrike, Clockwork, Hookshot, and try to delay the game.
How long do they want to delay it? You mentioned 5 minutes around Aegis, but is it also a plan to delay it even further for this Morphling Invoker to scale? Because I saw Hand of Midas on Analog. It looks like he's changed his mind around that.
He bought the book as well. CK is too powerful to fight into, because even though they have Hookshot, they have Beastmaster ulti, it's very difficult to fight into CK right now. Like, he just a bit too strong, and they need to prolong the game. Like, at least wait until the Aegis is gone, and what they're doing right now is very good. You see Vitaly and Elmisha bottom split pushing. They need one extra hit on the tower. Tiny's pinging it out.
The Hawk Vision gives Gareth the opportunity to make the jump, and Elmisha launching out those Mortimer's kisses. Tiny pretty low. The Sunstrike might just finish him off. Gareth secures the kill, and they trade him out for the Tiny. Well worth it. If they can get everyone else out of here, as Elmisha just about stunned up by the bushwhack of LTH.
It's still worth it. 2 cores are gonna be 3 cores from Hokori. Gonna be able to get some farm on the top lane. Analog feels very secure. They didn't kill the tower, but yeah, Snapfire will eventually drop. But look at the time invested to kill the Snapfire.
She's hiding in a little copse of trees there. CK
I see CK.
He made a long move to get here. He was trying to backstab, but Aegis lost now. Can he die a second time? He's got BKB, but no TP. Looks like they will just leave him be.
Oh, they stabilized it.
Yeah. So now they don't have to wait that 5 minutes, do they?
They don't. Like, they can, once again, when the roar is up, they can go for the fight. Snapfire plus Clockwork, like the combination of these 2 heroes pre-BKB, they can pretty much kill anyone. Tiny going into Echo Saber next. He wants to scale. Ooh, double damage. This is big. This is big for SG.
It is if they can connect on someone. Right now, their Radiant Vision spammer pings into that top jungle. They know exactly where Gareth is and where he's gone. They don't know about the rest. Analog now shows on the wave, but he's going to retreat and TP as quickly as he can. So they go for the objective instead of trying to traipse around the jungle looking for kills. Force the glyph on the tier 2 at least for now.
You like to call that objective-based gaming.
That's the good stuff. I'm still looking at this Invoker and thinking he's got 3,000 gold saved up, kind of dead net worth. So he's definitely changed his mind from the Hand of Midas. Oh, Vitaly. Yeah, the bushwhack is there. Hoodwink's so good at catching people who are hiding away in these trees. Beastmaster, prime target for her.
He got the tower, so they can take the outpost from the enemy. And also give some time for Analog to farm what it seems to be the BKB. You mentioned the dead net worth on him. Gets the tower with the Forge Spirits.
Yeah, like what's the reason he's not buying some components? Is he still thinking about...
Still thinking.
Yeah,
still figuring out what they need. I mean, eventually, like, you still need a BKB. I think he's thinking about, like, Shiva's potentially. It's very good against Tiny Brewmaster and the CK. Potentially even Hex, but I feel like, you know, BKB, he needs to have it to be able to stand inside the fight. Because CK right now, what level is he? He's level 17. It's very important for CK to get the levels and get that reality versus spell immunity. Then he can jump the Invoker and blow him up.
And then when especially he's got that Skadi, he can counteract the Morphling too. And Invoker does cure the Boots of Travel next. I was wondering and leaning towards that idea of delaying the game even further and playing this split push style where you've got Morphling Invoker playing side lanes and going back into jungle. Something they definitely still can do. But when SG amass their forces at the gates, eventually you're going to have to fight them. Morphling, Skadi, Invoker, BKB. Some pretty big timings for Hokori. They pack a hefty punch.
Morphling not going for the spell. Like, he was thinking about getting the Manta Style first, but decided to get Skadi. This is something that could potentially backfire, but it can also look genius.
Oh, Cog's pushed back. A toss from Tiny puts the Brewmaster away from the clock, but now he's roared and dead. Bit of an odd one there. Brewmaster used as a hand grenade. Chucks in and explodes. Down goes the Hoodwink too. And dealing with CK illusions quite easily. And maybe the hero itself. He's forced to BKB, but the Scotty's slow.
Oh, the Scotty's slow. Here we go.
Well,
I don't think he's getting out of this one.
Oh, he doesn't get trapped in the cogs, but they've got the cold snap anyway. Down goes Burner.
This
Well,
is
that
big,
was a-
huge move. Not allowing Brewmaster to use his ulti. That's game winning, especially because he does have Aghanim Scepter, and they control him nicely. Like Tiny tossed him back. Maybe he needed to wait a little bit longer to just be able to toss him back. Like they also need some kind of a defensive item. I see Vidge going for the Force Staff. That's going to be pretty big against the Beastmaster and the Clockwork. Just works real nice. And now off to the high ground. Like Morphling doesn't care about this. Morphling with the Alacrity, with the Ancient Thunderhide, like all these stuff that they have, that's going to be pretty huge, pretty difficult to defend against, especially because they don't rely on any cooldowns. Hype it up, Gary.
Oh.
It's
I
your
did catch
job.
the Beastmaster. It is my job, thank you. I'll get a kill on the way out. But that's Brew Split used. He does have his Aghanim Scepter, so another charge ready for this next team fight. And when Chaos Knight respawns, SG probably going to try and force it. Yeah, I thought Jeff had fixed Tiny Airlines. Apparently, Tiny's able
Oh, he
just to...
fixed it. Like he fixed it for griefing. You can turn it off. Same thing as you can turn on like shared units. It's not that you can't toss your allies. It means that like you can't grief them if they don't allow you to do it.
They've got the choice.
Yeah, they can turn it off. They can not board the Tiny Airlines.
Well, a bit of time for Tiny to reflect as he wanders back to Fountain. Radiant
Brewmaster
still...
does have full Eon Disc, so they're not gonna be able to kill him. Like there is a way to still like burst him with the Invoker, the spell from Tornado, but they need to time it right. He needs to be inside the clock with cogs plus battery.
Yeah, this might be the start they need, but Gardic destroyed by the sharpshooter. And even though Radiant playing under dire vision up in this top jungle, Hokori may be lulled into that false sense of security or wanting to fight that Brewmaster early on, keeping the Eon Disc disassembled. Always a massive threat. A lot of drawing from the Clockwork. Unhappy that his team aren't making full use of his death. Could have been down bottom pushing, maybe. Yuma wanted to clear out the Ancients first. With Clockwork down, its vision gone, its team fight initiation gone. A good opportunity for SG to clear out that top tier 2 and ready themselves for next Roshan. Just under a minute until he does spawn.
And of course, DD spawning near the Roche. Clockwork
yeah.
scouts it out. Both teams now know that there is a double damage.
But SG have to keep coming back and dealing with these lanes. El Misho cuts top, mid is cut by Beastmaster, bottom's pushed out by the Morphling. Everywhere they look, there's creep waves coming towards their base. Not an ideal spot. And it gives a good chance here for Hokori, you know, with a Hawk Vision or a Rocket Flare. Even just a catch onto Frank to maybe take him down with a hookshot cold snap. He can reassemble the Eon Disc if he needs to. They do roar one in the back as well, getting onto that. Hoodwink 2 with a nice Sunstrike, finishing him off. While Gardic, he went in here onto Frank, but he's being dealt with nicely. Jetpack's off to the right, but dragged straight back in. A grasp of CK. Looking to finish off these Beastmaster creeps too.
Infused Raindrop, pinged on the ground, not sure who it is. Roshan is alive, CK is gonna use ulti, and yeah, they will scout things out. But once again, Hokori, they have the tools to see what's happening inside the pit. Using the Sunstrike, so they know. Feels like they're not gonna go for it. It feels like they don't care too much about the Aegis. Shard, still pretty good. Not sure if they want to give that, because Shard was nerfed on CK, so maybe they give it to Tiny instead. Because Tiny on the mid lane like does not want to buy the item, but we'll see who picks it up.
Look at this push though, like hardcore up to the tier 3 with a dragon alacrity'd up. Focused down by Widge Enchantress.
Easy 250.
Still some good
and now
chip
they
damage.
split them.
Yeah. God, it's on Frank. Let's get off his ultimate. And Clockwork, once more, just a step too far forward, trying to initiate these team fights. Frank wants a little bit more here. Does have LTH Hoodwink trying to connect in towards this bottom river. Throwing spells towards the Misho Snapfire. Cookie is available after the mech heal and a good TP attempt. Any more stuns? They're not coming. So TP is home successfully.
El Misho has been very elusive with his Snapfire. First time, like near the bottom where he was hiding in the trees, it took them so long to actually kill him. And now getting out of the trouble. Morphling does have a BKB. He disassembled Dragonlance, went back to Dragonlance one more time. Level 20. Still, CK, he's massive. They have this Vessel. They have CK with the Scotty. So the healing coming out, it's pretty difficult. But they can take out these two supports first.
Oh, yeah, they can. Yuma, though, in a spot of bother, trying to shift himself to strength. Pops his BKB and looks to run away. With a waveform coming up cooldown, he should be fine. Gets the high ground as they disengage away from that CK. He's still holding Aegis as well as KXY. Oh, this pesky Clockwork is just always on his tail. Chasing Brew and Tiny, trapping them in the cogs. Dire still the ones with these vision tools to maybe scout out their triangle. Look towards starting a team fight again.
And now they
Even
smoke.
smoking up together.
They see CK showing up because he doesn't have much mana. Like he's 200 mana, has one Chaos Bolt and one Reality Rift. They need a Dust. Well, not anymore. They can see him. You know why, Gary? Because
He's on the tower.
No, he's CK. He's not, you know. That's why they see him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see him. And maybe he was thinking the enemy team won't initiate on a CK with Aegis, and maybe has the rest of the team behind him, but they split out across the map. With rocket flares and hawks and all that.
It gives you
the
false
Dire sees so much stuff.
sense of security. Having this Aegis, so 2 Aegis is like they didn't get anything out of it. First time he died, they couldn't get like initially tier 2 towers, and now like the second Aegis is much more important. 45 seconds without him, does have a buyback, but Hokori, they will go for the high ground. They will try to poke.
They're gunning for it. Well, they already brought it down to half HP. This tier 3 is close to death. They've got Alpha Wolf, Inner Beast, and Alacrity Morphling. Another glyph required. 25 seconds with no CK, and he definitely doesn't want to buy back. They need to get something done without him. Brewmaster already on disc assembled. He gets off the ultimate because of it. Yuma trying to focus Widge now, but he's got a waveform back as his BKB expires. Turns into Tiny and avalanches their advance. But Frank is on the hunt. He's chasing Analog. Ghost Walk is their reveal. They don't see him. And Vitali's going to turn back with his own BKB. Finish off Widge and KXY. Trapped around these 4 Dire heroes. Slain. And Frank with no ulti now. He's in real trouble. CK is going to Phantasm and Reality Rift to jump El Misho. Kill off the Snapfire. Hokori resetting. Calming things down. Not pushing too far forward because you see how much the damage this CK does to Vitali's Beastmaster. God, zoning them out with the cogs, potentially saving his mates to TP and escape, but LTH has so much lockdown, the ability to chase the Beastmaster down and give Burner a triple kill.
I like what Hokori is doing. Like, they went for the high ground, they took a fight, they killed multiple targets, they forced a buyback, and also they're not losing Invoker nor Morphling. I think both of these heroes did not die in the last 10-15 minutes. And that's what's important. Like, you can sacrifice Beastmaster, that's completely fine. Beastmaster now picked up the shard. We mentioned it before. Dive Bomb. It's a sick ability. It's a good way to initiate. One of the reasons why you don't really feel the influence of the Hoodwink so much is all the vision. Like, she's playing into Clockwork, she's playing into Beastmaster, so it's very difficult. Like, one roar. Ooh, CK again.
Oh my god. Burner. Deja vu. Trying to push this bottom tier 1 tower. Gets away, but the Sunstrike. Oh, he's not going to finish him off. Maybe with a Tornado and a chase, but Analog's BKB wearing out. And Brew split, causing just enough havoc to hold Hokori back.
Hokori throughout the whole game, are playing with the network deficit, but they are the ones like making the moves. They have very good understanding of the game, like what needs to be done and when they can take the fight. Like when they need to split push, there's a couple of drawings from Gardic, like what needs to be done. We need to play the bottom part of the map, but yeah, they understand. Like there's no BKB on a CK, they're gonna go in again.
Yeah, you've been saying it. The vision, the wave clear, the shove, so much stronger on Hokori's side. So their ability to control the map much better. Frank, Eon Disc used immediately. No ulti though for 18 seconds. Has to refresh to get it off in time. Yuma looking a little bit scared on this high ground as they do move in towards the Radiant and roar the CK. Burn nearly dead. Shadow
Meteor
battles Yuma. The Morphling's still alive though. He can shift, but he doesn't get it off in time. Analog still picking off heroes as he just launches spells from this high ground position. Ice Wall slows the Frank Brewlings. Vitali still being focused, and in comes Tiny. Gardic down to LTH as well. The Hoodwink shifting towards the back lines, and El Misho attempting yet another TP. The long range Bushwhack though. Aetherlens Psychic Headband from miles away catches the Snapfire. And we will get 4 kills for SG down in this bottom lane.
It looked really good. I mean, Brewmaster used Refresher just to refresh his Eon Disc, to proc a second one, then use ulti. Like they can still lock him down. They try to go for a CK. They managed to kill him, but at the start of the fight, a little bit of a sloppy execution. They're still in this game, even with the 10k gold deficit. They're still. One thing I don't like is Snapfire not having a shard. Like this might sound stupid, but she might not realize. Like you don't buy a blink dagger and not go for a shard. And now she's going for Aghanim Scepter, which is fine. I just feel, you know, playing against the Brew, having an extra layer of stun against the Brewlings as well, and also CK and the Illusions, the shard value is pretty insane.
Tiny. Oh, with Hoodwink. Gardic's done. Yeah, especially, I think I fully agree. Like the fact that she has Blink, right? That's the big red flag. Blink with no shard. Maybe
This
still
is
find time to buy
still good if she's playing like defensive game where she wants to be able to save people when they initiate with the CK stun, especially Morphling. Like they can still blow him up.
Frank swaps his Eon Disc into backpack and then returns it to inventory, so it doesn't pop there. He wasn't scared of dying. So a nice little play for the Brewmaster to make sure he has it.
Look at this. He's trying to snipe it, but the backpack Eon Disc is doing the work.
Try to proc next time.
Like Rocket and also Sunstrike on top of that. 5,000 gold on Analog. Like he needs to spend his gold.
Yeah, he's had quite a few difficulties this game deciding what build he wants to go for.
I like Shiva's a lot. To slow down everything, provide him even more vision, and he also needs armor. CK, we mentioned the level 20 Reality Rip versus Spell Immunity. It's a lot of damage, and he has Hex queued up. I don't mind Hex. I think that would be my second choice in this game. Maybe they think, oh, after the BKBs are down, we're going to be able to survive with the cookie, with the hook shot, cogs, force staffs, and then we can take a fight and we can lock them down.
Yeah, Hex queued up makes a lot of sense. I just had a massive flashback though. My brain started wondering, what about right-click Invoker? And I was trying to remember if it was like Ferrari or someone who would go Deso AC. It may have been Summonus actually.
That was so long time ago, Gary. I don't even remember. That's like TI3, TI4 era.
Eon Disc and split required from Frank. Very worried about what's lurking in the shadows up in this top jungle as Roshan has just respawned. Frank kicking it off without the rest of his team. He's back up arriving, and LTH will supply. Gardic dead without buyback. Analog might just have to BKB and run away here. Help with a cookie. Yuma dragged straight towards the CK though. Waveform on CD, so goes for the TP home. Successfully out of there. And using a roar and an illusion now. Doesn't feel particularly good for the Beastmaster.
Roshan is up.
Getting run over.
SG should run inside the pit and take this one, or at least try to take it. It's cheese, it's Aghanim's blessing. So they can give that to... like, Brewmaster has one. You don't want to give that to Enchantress, I guess. Hoodwink is good. Tiny's also okay-ish, nothing spectacular. Like, it's one of those that scale well. Ooh. Tiny, they do have a sentry now. I mean, you can give it to CK. I also don't mind CK's, just tank up a little bit more and also like have an additional illusion. Let's see who picks it up. So he's the one picking it up for now.
He's not got enough slots. There's a cheese on the floor, lads. Bring the courier. KXY still silver-edged and looking, but analog under the Ghost Walk, holding dust as well. No BKB Tiny means he's still susceptible to getting picked off here by Tornado Cold Snap. A roar from Vitali also could come. Drop the meatballs on him. KXY down a half HP. He's roared and Sunstruck. He's dead. Great play down in this bottom lane from the Dire. And they could even turn this into a push yet again.
They will force SG to make a move. Like having Alacrity, having a Catapult, Beastmaster units. Like someone needs to react to it. And we see CK already pinging it out.
Come back and maintain these lanes. Prune the creep waves.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Chantress decides it's her job to show. Well, Frank smokes with LTH to look for El Micho. Tempted the flicker away, but still tagged by the Bushwhack and the Sharpshooter.
Another flicker.
Finish off the snap.
He's fine.
Oh, yeah, there's a mech, there's a blink, there's a flicker and a TP. Oh, the Bushwhack again.
Fine.
LTH just has his number. And you were talking about how Hoodwink hasn't had a spectacular game, and there's this back and forth between the Clockwork Flare and the Hawk from Beastmaster scouting her. But it feels like LTH has done a great job catching these heroes who like to sit in the fog and play from trees.
One of the reasons I wanted to mention is he decided to go for a Blink Dagger, and he's also the one keeping the gem, so he can see when the Hawk is on top of him. So can kill the Hawk, and also can like keep the distance, come into the fight with the Blink Dagger when it's needed.
Ooh, some juicy tier 4 items all coming out now. So Radiant has Timeless Relic for someone, Spell Prism, Flicker, while CK is holding Ascetic's Cap and Tiny with a Ninja Gear. Nobody wants the Timeless Relic though. What's Tiny got?
You just mentioned it, Ninja Gear.
Yeah.
It's like Tiny has Ninja
Lacoste.
Gear,
Old
CK
brain
has
kicking
this,
in.
what does Tiny have?
I mean, maybe Hoodwink could go for it, but she wants that extra cast range from Psychic Headband. SG bringing this tier 3 down. This CK.
It's gonna be a lot of confusion. There's gonna be a lot of lag. Brewmaster using ulti, CK with the extra illusion and illusion of the heroes.
Yeah. And he's got that Phantasm ready to go. Tornado MP trying to slow this down as best they can. And Gardic on the right-hand side, aiming and looking for that initiation. They blow up the Aegis. Second life coming. Frank's Brewling's also being focused down, forcing his second primal split. But the barracks falling means SG got what they came for, and they don't really need to stick around too much longer. Tiny's also pushing top lane, all on his lonesome. Doing a lot of damage here and has that CK illusion brought out, but that gobble up, chucking up the creep. Stuns and catches him. Corey 2 lanes down, looking for this chase of the retreat. But man, look at these illusions. There's tons of them.
It's so confusing. For us, it's very easy to see. For them, it's really not. I mean, you can see the colors, but still, it's very difficult.
Oh, they caught him. Down goes Burner. Got it. Hey, he's being zoned out yet, but Twitch and Frank refreshing, and Eon disking themselves into another primal split. Deafening Blast for pushing back, and Gardic buys back to come into this jungle area to continue the fight. And now you've got to know that Radiant don't have too much left in the tank. No splits remaining. CK might be forced to buy back if they're able just to pressure towards this Radiant base.
They even have extra brawling from the shard on top of that. I mean, they still manage to take these fights even with so much deficit. Invoker is holding that Sight of Vice, which we said a lot of value gained from the item. Also Timeless Relics, so extra 20% duration on the Hex. He's going to Refresher next. Okay, I think Shiva is a very good item because there's so much stuff on the ground, and slowing down their attack speed is pretty damn good. I don't think anyone else is gonna go for it, but Snapfire, still no shard on the hero.
Yeah, and removing a lot of that regen and lifesteal from the CK and prove handy. As Yuma shows off his double waveform, jumps in and jumps out. Brewmaster still charging forward and continually looking just to start these fights where Hokori feel they have no choice but to stand and hold their ground. Almisha doing some good damage to a couple of these Brewlings though. As SG will not go for it. That was just a defensive split to force Hokori away from their base. While their own base is in disarray. Massive creep wave in that bottom lane. Tier 4 is about to be under threat.
2 catapults are coming in. 2 catapults also on the mid lane. For now, holding enemy triangle. Look at this Hoodwink with her shard and also like CK shard. How do you find this hero? Like, how do you find which one is real?
Oh, it's so difficult. Even with all the vision tools, incredibly challenging. They will roll the Hoodwink though as she started on the Morphling, but the Phantasm comes in and KXY straight towards Yuma. Half HP has to waveform back. Still holding BKB, don't forget, and grabs a haste rune to sprint a little further away from the Brewmaster units. A missed bushwhack, unfortunate from the Hoodwink. Attempted to clip Yuma on the way through, but got it yet again. Taken out by SG, and numbers advantage for them as they move towards Dire Base. It's been this back and forth, swings and roundabouts, pushing and pushing back.
No Clockwork. Invoker has 7,000 gold. He's going in. He wants to buy this refresher. Like, he just wants to have something for the next fight. This is mega creeps. I don't think they can defend this.
Especially when Morphling is just being cycloned and removed from these fights.
And also, one of the reasons why Morphling decided to go for SNY is that Cyclone, because he knows that he's going to be thrown into the air so that the Cyclone doesn't last as long.
Frank has he on disc and his ulti, so not too bothered about Yuma jumping him and out of the bushwhack. LTH again starting these fights and causing severe problems for the Dire squad, needing the Roar to hold back the CK, but it's low sword back onto the Beastmaster. And look at these hits and crits from Burner. Vitali didn't stand a chance, and neither did Yuma. KXY has hunted him, found the Morphling, forced the buyback. Beastmaster gonna have to use his as well. They need to defend this base with all they've got. Yuma's forward, front lining now, chasing CK out of the base. But they've still got these illusions doing just tremendous amounts of damage. KXY with his own BKB Silver Edge off to the right-hand side. Analog with a combo, definitely last meatball. They'll kill off Frank at the very least. Triple buyback needed for it, and Gareth missing the hook shot. Now they're against Mega Creeps and Lacoste. You reckon they can't defend it?
I think SG has an ace up their sleeve where they can always go for some kind of a sneaky play with the illusions. KXY.
Oh yeah, speaking of sneaky plays, helped out by LTH to bring down Almisho, but he's gonna die for it. Has the buyback in his back pocket. But SG, you're gonna have to retreat and relinquish control.
Like, he does have a Hex, so he can pretty much catch anyone. But someone also needs to defend the base. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for them to defend right now. They don't have the buybacks. You said they used 3 in the previous fight.
Yeah, looking at it now, Invoker's the only Dire hero with it. Everybody else is on cooldown. Well, Radiant, if they have all of theirs, now Frank is the one without it, missing about 760 gold. At this position, gotta feel so good as SG. Roshan's coming up in a minute and a half. You can hold your opponents in their base. They're all dead! They're all dead! And it's gonna take some real magic from Hokori to come back into this.
Oh, we've seen some big comebacks yesterday in Division 2. I don't know if they can take this one. Maybe if they had the buybacks, but looking at how disgusting of a lineup SG has with like tiny CK with the illusions, Aghanim Scepter on top of that, Brewmaster going like I don't think you can win this game. I'm always down to try to figure something out, how to go for some kind of a sneaky play from Hokori, but the problem is you're playing against the Mega Creeps. There's just so much stuff on the ground, and you don't have like Phantom Assassin with the Battle Fury, I don't know, Troll that can deal with these units. You have Morphling, which is very difficult to like even itemize to have some kind of an AoE. Like Morphlings, they tried, especially like I'm gonna bring up the BL versus Morphling, where Morphling gets like Maelstrom, full Mjolnir, tries to itemize correctly, so-called, but then just doesn't work. Like sometimes the matchups are that like Morphling doesn't deal well with any kind of summons, and it also shows in this game.
Yeah, it's incredibly tough. Is that... Yeah, full E-Blade on LTH now as well. Nasty amount of damage coming out of this Hoodwink. Gardic did get spotted there. You'll probably know he's placed some vision as well. And Burner. I'm going to see him. He hook shots away to the creeps and he's out of there. So now you're lacking hook shot, you're lacking mana on the clockwork, and you're going to struggle to control the Roche Pit. As he respawns in 30 seconds. Yuma and Vitali contending with that mid wave. Probably send the Beastmaster down bottom to just keep that push going a little bit further. Keep the creeps away from their base.
Volker decided to go for Boots of Travel too, so he can be the one, like having that less channel time on Boots of Travel feels nice. And he can TP to heroes, he can TP to like Gardic while he's using the jetpack and then hex someone. So a lot of ways to just go in and do stuff, I would say. But problem is like the lanes are gonna be an issue. Let's see. I feel like SG should try to force him. Oh, let's see.
LTH. He brings the Invoker down to like 500 HP. If he had one more hero there, that's him done. But it's forced analog to BKB. It's forced analog to go back to Fountain. And Burner, he's in the pit. Roshan with all the goodies. Refresher Shard, Aghanim's Blessing, as well as the Aegis Cheese. Gardic, he's missed out on another hook shot. Too many illusions, too many decoys, and spam out on the map for him to really latch onto someone. Fear there onto Yuma. Not going to trigger any kind of response. Still no way for Hokori to really contest Roche. Bot lane's pushed all the way in. And Analog is starting to struggle and feel the pain from these mega creeps. So now the last stand. Hold your ground, defend your base, and hope for the best. Invoker is one of those heroes that can pull some magic tricks out.
Because there's not much they can do right now.
Oh yeah, Tiny looking to blow up Vitali, gets roared up. Gardic's gone deep there and helped out by the kisses, but they've all got their BKBs. Tiny dropped by Yuma, but buys back as Burner. Oh, he's looking a little worse for wear. Yuma clears him out. 2 huge kills. Right back out of Tiny. The Aegis on the CK will allow them to re-engage and move back forward. Kill off the Beastmaster, and maybe now Yuma. Yeah, they've got them all locked in place. Bring them down. Waveform away will only get him that much distance closer to the tier 3, but still looking pretty dead. Chucking trees at him. Meteors dropped with a refresher from Analog. They get the Radial Deafening Blast, pushing CK away from the throne. But the Radiant are still 5 heroes strong.
Oh,
and
another
refresher
split
from Frank. Another split comes. He's trapped in the cogs, and that's bloody annoying. But Gardic has nowhere to run. Hook shots off to the side into the Hoodwink. But KXY will focus the objectives. Get the throne done. And Hokori unable to defend their base, giving SG game 1 victory.
It was just a bit too much in the end with all these illusions, decoys, CK with the Phantasm Brewing. Like, they didn't have a hero that deals well with the Brewmaster. I'm not sure if anyone could have bought like a Nullifier to be able to proc these Eon discs, because they couldn't lock him down at the later stages. Like that one fight, I think that was a game winning, where he gets the refresher just to be able to refresh his Eon disc one more time, and then they take a big fight. Like I think we gotta give credit to Hokori, because they played with disadvantage throughout this whole game. They were going for the kills. SG not a clean execution overall, but pleasantly surprised. Hokori, they did amazing in the previous DPC tour. They got that 3rd place, same score as the Beast Coast, but yeah. So we see how the scene actually grows. Division 2 team coming in and coming in hot.
Absolutely, yeah, and maybe some question marks there around the cores from Hokori, the Invoker and the Morphling. They looked all right. They didn't look, too bad, but item decisions kind of being delayed with that BKB, holding a lot of gold on Yuma and Analog. That means you're missing out on some of these earlier snap decision making and timings that maybe you could have hit. But it is a best of 3, so with game 1 done, we'll return to panel and see what we've got in store for us. Game 2.
Thank you, Gareth, for this wonderful throw, and also for hitting the nail on the head. I think when you look in the game, you saw the net worth always being in favor of SG the whole game, and there were moments where Vitaly was making plays, but it did feel like Yuma and Yuma and Analog's net worth didn't really catch up, and they weren't able to make what we expected of them. You said it was a free Morphling game, but it certainly didn't look that way. What do you think were some of the factors that we missed in the draft, or some of the things that happened RDO that led to this position?
I feel like Hokori is a team that plays very well when they're behind on net worth, like they're on disadvantage.
Sure.
But once they get the game even, they just throw the game again. Like that's my feeling of this game. Like they made 2 or 3 comebacks, and after the comeback, when the game gets easier, they just spread around or get picked off, go for some weird engagement, and the game just get thrown again. So maybe more discipline.
Did you get that feeling too, Wingblade? Did you feel like there was a lack of discipline here in the game for Hokori?
I'm not super sure, actually. I feel like it was ultimately more of a draft thingy, where they just couldn't deal with the Brewmaster, not necessarily because of the Morphling pick, but because of the Clockwork pick, because Morph against Brew is a really good lane, but we could see the Hoodwink just doing so much more work than the Clock, and Clock got really good hooks like sometimes, but he was also like 2 and 18, and just having a Clock in your lane as a Morphling and just getting completely overrun by a Brewmaster, that kind of allowed SG for me to really get a footing in the game, because we saw that in the mid game at like 26 minutes, even while Hokori was behind, they could still like pressure tier 3s. But if they were like leading by 5k because their lanes went better, I feel like the game would have ended right there. So they were in a position where they kind of had to go for those comeback plays, and they had to play super perfectly, because if they made mistakes, well, with a Brewmaster you can also push high ground really well. So yeah, I partially agree that they had trouble like regaining the even footing, but for me it was mostly like a story that was about the Hokori safe lane / SG offlane.
Okay, well, with that storyline there, we can close this wonderful panel and see what awaits us in game number 2. As Hokori, if they really want these points against SG, they need to win this game to enforce the game 3. SG, on the other hand, could be the second team to give us an upset and start off the series of the season with a bang by getting a win against Hokori. This would put them in potential contention for not only avoiding the relegation, but also maybe even taking the top 2 slots or top 3, maybe forcing a tiebreaker, and of course making SA upper div look exactly like SA lower div, where you have a 5-way tie, and we would love that. So with that said, stay tuned, guys, and we'll get back with game number 2 shortly and see what Hokori can do, or if SG finishes this series soon.